The 50 Shades of Beer podcast.
All right, here we go. We're getting it started after a bunch of blind leading the blind. This may be recording, this may not be. It's probably just a waste of time drinking beer. So anyway, welcome to the 50 Shades of Beer podcast. I have with me G-Funk. Is it G-Funk or Funk G?
It is actually G-Funk, and it is short for G-Funkadelic.
G-Funkadelic. All right. Well, that's good. I'm Big D here. I'm munching away on a sandwich, too. We're going to talk about a few things today. We're going to talk about wonderful world of what's going on. Well, that's my mama. So this here is a podcast. We're going to talk about three different segments here, G-Funk. We're going to talk about the Iran conflict, and we're going to talk about some what's going on with Kristi Noem over at DHS, and then a couple other odds and ends in our last segment. But let's start it out with the Iran conflict. Now, what do you make of this, man? Because I think it's hilarious. Trump went in there and he blew everything up, and while they're scraping the bodies up and throwing them in the ground and whatnot, they're sitting around the table saying, all right, we're going to get the second guy and we're going to get him in charge. And just as everybody's going around the table saying, I do, they blow the shit out of that place too.
So I would imagine that in the regime, they're like, look, we need a leader. Are there any takers? There's not a whole lot of guys raising their hand right now.
I wouldn't think so.
They're like, anybody? There's no one. And I would imagine that the Ayatollah's son is probably in Russia right now. He's probably not in Iran, except position, if I had to guess.
So do you think it's going to turn into a 100-year war like a lot of people are thinking?
I really hope it does not. I am confident that Trump will not let it go to that. And I'm willing to go out and say Iran will probably be about 5 different countries in a year from now. I think that tribes will just spat with one another, and you'll have Kurds in one area, the Baluchs in another one, the Persians here, there. Anyway, I think you're just going to have a lot of mini things.
I think we should have something like a Houthi NFL, their own Houthi football team.
Yeah.
And the soccer players could be their cheerleaders if they wanted to be, if they're ever let back in the country.
And I did notice that the soccer team grew some smarts and decided to ask for asylum while they were in Australia.
Well, you got to put a shrimp on the bobby.
I think I would do the same thing.
So here's some facts for you.
Okay.
All right. So on February 28th, the U.S. and Israel rather, launched the massive coordinated strike against Iran. It was the middle of the day. It was also on Ramadan. Just to say, how you doing?
Which I think is a nice touch. Yeah.
Right. It's on holiday. They want to reach out and let them know they were thinking about them on such an important day.
A holy day. I think it's a nice touch.
That's right. And the supreme leader was blown to bits.
That's right. He was a little ballsy, but he was blown to bits because he decided to have a meeting with all his leadership after telling the U.S. to go screw itself. So.
Well, he did have a set of balls on him because he's literally telling Trump the day before he had a missile shoved up his ass that he's going to blow up Trump. He's going to take missiles and take all their Navy ships out of the water and whatnot. And he's in a room full of 30 or 40 20-year-olds. And to me, I miss the old guy because he's like the Middle Eastern Uncle Jesse. You know what I mean?
Oh, good news! It's them Duke boys.
Right.
He's not around anymore. And
in the words of Bill, he took a dirt nap.
Not one place, all over the place.
Yeah, he did.
He gave a new definition to the term scattered ass.
Yeah.
So Iran, they retaliated with hundreds of missiles.
Yes.
And now this is the genius, I thought. They retaliated with hundreds of missiles striking U.S. air bases, as well as, a lot going towards Israel, right?
Right.
Then they got the brilliant idea to go around and hit all of the neighboring countries like Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, UAE, and all that stuff. And they thought that was the thing to do. They're like, well, you know what? If we take them out or blow them up, make their lives miserable, they'll come crawling to us saying, we got to stop. And then we can tell them, all right, well, if you want to stop, then you tell your boys over the United States to knock it off. Well, that went over like a fart in church, don't you think?
Well, yeah. I think whenever you're backed into a corner and there's a world of 200 countries and like 3 of them are your allies, I don't think the best thing to do is to hit the 3 that are your allies, or maybe at best neutral, which is what they did. Yeah.
Well, but I was trying to figure it out for a couple of days because, they said, well, first they bombed their buddies. And then what's his face? The president, I think it was, of Iran. He puts out a notice. Everybody says, hey, us, the Muslim, and Arab nations, we all need to stick together.
Right.
And, the crown prince of, Saudi Arabia is probably going, okay, cool. Stop blowing up shit over here.
And
why would he do that?
Apologized and said,
Just kidding.
the miscommunication. We're sorry.
Right.
We didn't really mean to send the missile.
That's right.
Yeah.
But, I was kind of thinking that maybe, the intel community got involved and did a little hack job on their weapon systems and launched rockets everywhere, made them look like a bunch of incompetent dumbasses.
I think no one's in charge. I think every regional commander is just on his own.
Oh, I mean, if they did, I have no proof of whether they did or didn't. But if they were compromised, right, and they were hacked, and their weapon systems they had fun. Like, hey, let's send one over here, let's send one over there. Just hey, why not, right? Mm-hmm. Iran can't say that they've been hacked because if they were hacked, they're damned if they do, damned if they don't, and they were going to be screwed either way. And that was probably brilliant if they did do that. And because if they had to tell everybody that, oh, gee whiz, they got us and we had to, send our bombs everywhere. And well, shit, we all, how's that going to look with all their citizens for the three people in Iran that was still following the regime? They're probably going to go, wow, we need a new team here.
Well, I can tell you, if Trump pulls this off, and does a regime change without having boots on the ground, that will be the first time in history he will make history. And that's
Democrats will love that. It'll be something else he succeeded at. But I mean, he's been changing the world if you think about it. There's a big paradigm shift globally. The current situation, right? How we know it right now is the U.S. and Israelis are going to, they're continuing to strike daily, and they were projecting 4 to 5 weeks, and it may be longer. Now, it could be, could not be. They might get with the program and say, you know what, we're better off, living, and we want to take what's left of our sandbox here and maybe make a sandcastle again. Yeah. And but what they're doing is really stupid. Is they're threatening to block the oil channels, and shipments and whatnot in the Persian Gulf, and the Strait of
It's the only one way they make money.
Right. And if that's the last refuge, then how desperate are they going to be once they're in that corner?
Right.
So,
and here again, I think the ethnic communities, it's a multi-ethnic country. I think eventually they're just going to take over their little slivers and enclaves, and it'll be 4 or 5 countries.
Right. Doesn't sound like a bad idea.
No.
And then they can have their own little wars.
What's wrong with your enemy dividing? That's a good thing.
Well,
generally,
because it's not a bad idea, because you'll have basically, like you said, a divided up country, and kind of like the United States, only instead of states that'll be little countries, right? And each state can have its own whatever, and one state will, I know there aren't going to be states, but I'm saying one country could have something that they're going to try, and another country, their neighboring country will do something that they're going to try. I liken it to the whole thing of Florida and California. Now, what does Florida do and what does California do? 2 separate things, right?
Right.
They're both very beautiful, tropical, warm states, right? Well, one's probably tropical and humid, Florida, and California's dry. But the point I'm getting at is they're both lovely, sunny states, right?
Right.
And there's a drive to live in both of them because of that. Now, which state do you think it's more affordable to live in, and why is that?
Well, I'll give you an example. So Florida and New York State have roughly the same population, but New York's government budget is double Florida's.
Yeah.
But yet everybody's leaving New York to go to Florida with half the government budget.
Yeah.
So you got to think about that. Say, well, why is that? Is less government better? In the case of New York and Florida, the answer is yes.
I think one of the brilliant things, I know we're getting off track here from Iran, but just to finish that thought, Florida, I got to say, Florida's done something very well, because it seems like, from me and my ignorant standpoint of Florida, it's a pay to play kind of state. They've made it so that you have all of the latest. I mean, if you want it, you can have it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And you want all the extras, you have to pay for it, either by donating or through taxes. And
That's
California's figured, that, well, we'll just tax everybody to death. And well, that doesn't seem to work, especially when you spend, $20 some odd million or $200 million on a train system that hasn't even been built. But anyway, in Florida, if whatever it is you want to do, sure, you can do it. And it's, top drawer. But you don't pay for it unless you use it.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So they have CCDs in Florida, where if you live in a community where you want a little bit extra, you want the park, you want the water slides, or the little community, whatever, then you pay a CDD fee. I think it's CDD fee. Somebody from Florida is going to yell at me, but anyway, it's a little something you put in.
In other words, it's a user fee. Users pay. You do not.
But if you want to live, you don't want that. You can live out in the country and not have to worry about it.
I like that.
Now, you'll probably have to be running from a alligator while you're cutting your grass.
That's true.
But that's the way that works.
Some government services are worth paying for.
That's right. Well, let's take a commercial break, and we'll come back to talking about Kristi Noem and what happened to her. I think G-Funk here knows, but we'll find out here in a minute.
Yeah, I think we got some insight on that. I'm going to recharge my
Have you ever noticed how beer suddenly becomes fancy when someone describes it? I mean, if I hand you a cold beer and say, "Here, drink this," you're like, "Okay." But if I say, "This is a handcrafted, artisanally created, small batch beverage featuring subtle notes of toasted oak, citrus, and regret," now suddenly you're swirling the glass and you're like chugging wine.
Oh yes, I detect hops and bad decisions.
Beer people do this all the time. No one just says, "Yeah, it tastes good." No, it's always, "I'm getting hints of pine, caramel, grapefruit, and a faint whisper of lumberjack." A lumberjack? Really? How do you even taste that? Did someone soak the beer in a flannel shirt? Listen, I love beer, but let's be honest. After the third one, nobody's tasting subtle citrus undertones. By beer number 3, you're like, "Yep, tastes like beer." And that, my friends, is the most honest beer review on earth. This message brought to you by the 50 Shades of Beer podcast, where we skip the fancy words and just ask important questions. Is it good? Or should we get another one? All right, here we go. We're back at the 50 Shades of Beer. By the way, G-Funk, what are you drinking?
I'm actually drinking a Torpedo Extra IPA.
Yeah.
It's actually an IPA that has jalapeno flavoring, so it's kind of interesting.
All right.
Kind of bitter.
Didn't know they put
you?
jalapenos in beer.
It's actually good. It's a good, only in an IPA. I wouldn't recommend that, obviously, with light beer.
Sure.
But it's
Try something new every day. I got I'm playing it safe. I'm doing Blue Moon, little Belgian white.
okay.
I'm a sucker for Blue Moon, like my orange. I can't put an orange in the can though. That's the only problem. And I don't have any glasses.
If I give a Blue Moon that doesn't have an orange in it, she says go back and get an orange. So,
that's right. That half an orange at least. Squeeze.
Mm-hmm.
It's an orange. I squeeze it myself.
Hope it's not too tangy.
Oh, it's not too tangy. So, we got Kristi Noem. She's out at DHS. She apparently did the wrong thing a couple of times. From what I understand, she had a little bit of something on the side that came up in the tabloids, and she got called on it, and she was pissing Trump off about commercials she was making, and kind of telling him to stuff it, and well, he told her to take a hike. That's what I understand. What do you think?
Yeah, well, I can be more specific on that one. Senator Kennedy, the Republican from Louisiana, actually spoke with Trump and checked with him before he asked her this at the hearing. He said, "You mind if I question her about the commercial?" He goes, "No, go right ahead." And he pressed her and said, "This $250 million commercial that you did Trump know about that, the administration?" And she didn't want to answer that question, but whenever she said yes to that, he was pissed. And I think that's when he didn't want to fight. He moved her, right? And instead of being Homeland Security lead, I think he created a position for her to I guess lead. What is it called? Shield America?
Mm-hmm.
America Shield. But the fact that she told the Senate that he knew about the $250 million commercial That's what pissed him off, and that's what created the rift.
How do you make a commercial for $200-some million?
Well, when you have the government do it, it's very easy. That's the problem. Yeah, that was way too much because there's no bidders. She probably had the funding and then said, now who wants to do this? And then of course you don't. There's no limit to the budget, so everybody overcharges. And that's both sides.
Well, maybe we stop doing these dumbass podcasts and get in the commercial business.
Correct. That's exactly right. Mm-hmm.
That's right. So it almost seems like, I hear what you're saying. He moved her. Maybe he likes her, doesn't want to completely get rid of her.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's almost like that scene in Shogun where that emperor pissed on what's his face. Remember that to show his dominance? Remember that?
Shogun?
Yeah, that old Shogun series came out in the 80s, whatever. What's his name was in it? Richard Chamberlain. The important part is that the Japanese emperor was really wasn't pissed at him. He was just trying to show who was in charge, and he pissed on the guy when he was down and out after they kicked his ass.
She pissed on Trump when she said, "Yeah, the administration knew about this $250 million before I spent it." Trump did not appreciate that.
Yeah, no, that wasn't cool. She didn't strike me as the type of person that would go awry like that. But at the same time, then you hear about the affair that she allegedly had.
Yeah, she's I guess that guy serving under her was serving under her. Yes,
that's right. Maybe they went to a Coldplay concert.
Yeah, they might have. Yeah.
Jesus, man.
The guy's ready to resign and just retire now. He's like, no, I've seen the light. Yeah, I'm all done.
That's right.
Yep.
Now, I did see that President Trump replaced Noem with Mark Wayne Mullen from Oklahoma.
Yep.
He was skipping and hopping up and down the Senate floor, singing Zippity Doo-Dah. I mean, that dude was excited.
But yeah, and the only blemish in his record, which I think is a plus, is he actually challenged a guy on the Senate floor to a fight, which I thought was refreshing.
Because that's when John Kennedy made the comment about how he wasn't going to square off on Mark Wayne Mullen because he didn't want his ass kicked.
That's exactly right. Yeah, he said, I don't want to do that. I think didn't he used to do MMA? So he knows how to ass whip. Yeah,
he might. He's those boys from Oklahoma, man. They scrap.
That's real fighting.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of it fake. That's real. Yeah.
Oh.
It's just like when Dan decides to wrestle me at Puerto Rico, and then those guys know how to take the knees out. You just right at the knee. You just slip them out and they fall like a stone.
That's right. Karate chop, judo chop.
That's right. Quick.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
They never see it coming.
That's right. Zip and zap. So the firing, obviously a lot of political clashes, and criticism from, hearings here and there and whatever else like that. So what do you suppose the first conversation was that Trump had with Noem, right after she bullshitted Congress and said, yeah, he knew about it. All right. So she goes back to his office because I'm sure he said, can I speak to you for a minute? She goes to his office. They close the door. It's just Noem in there with Trump. All right, go. What did he say?
He said, "Now I'm sure you're doing a fantastic job, Kristi. You really are, and I appreciate that. I appreciate you doing a fantastic job. But your presentation on the floor wasn't par, and so I need you to take this other position." I think it was nice. He just said, "Look, I'm gonna put you over here, and I'm gonna put this other guy over
That's
here."
Right.
But he was nice.
That's right.
Keep in mind, in Washington, he's still a politician. It doesn't pay to be a jerk. He just said, "Gotcha." He
doesn't need to be reelected. What does he care?
But he doesn't want her talking junk about him, right? So he just says, "Look, I got a new position for you. It's over here. Pays the same. It's okay. And I'm gonna hire this crapper to do what you work." Yeah.
So yeah, he's promoted her to head lettuce. And,
correct.
But Mullen is supposed to be, heavily focused on, border enforcement and internal security reforms. You suppose Trump's gonna send Mullen down to the border and, put on a vest and start kicking ass, or
no? I he'll just head up the department and see, because the border's already sealed. There's really not a whole lot of work to do.
Oh, that's true.
There.
Well, I wish Senator Mullen all the luck in the world. He's going to be doing a crackerjack job, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see what happens to Noem. I gotta say though, that commercial with her riding around on a horse, I think she did that on purpose.
Yes. Well, That was that extra $200 million of the $50 million.
Yeah. I'm sure the producer's like, why don't you get up on that horse for me, baby?
Yeah,
get up on that horse.
It cost extra money for us to get you in slow-mo riding the horse, and that's how they had that extra,
That's right.
And whoever made the commercial, my hat's off to them. They did well. They made money, and they're probably retired now. They're doing just fine.
It's like Bruno Kirby said in City Slickers. He said, "I bet the saddle's having all the fun."
Yes, that's right.
Anyway, well, Kristi Noem. Yep, there she is. No more DHS.
Yeah.
All right.
She'll do fine.
Oh yeah. She'll do fine. Why don't we check in with our supporters and do another commercial break so we can pay the bills, and we'll be back in a minute.
Sounds good.
Has this ever happened to you? You're trying to relax and then suddenly...
You need to mow the lawn, you need to mow the backyard, the front yard, you need to do the dishes, you need to wash the cars, and you need to feed the dogs.
From the 50 Shades of Grey podcast comes the wife remote. It only has one button. You just point it at your wife and click it. You know it's working when you hear the dong sound, so let's give it a try.
All I'm trying to do here is take a little nap here, and then she's getting on me. All right, let me see. Here she comes now.
How about I do?
Dong. Be so quiet.
Don't you do that to me?
Dong.
I want
Mm-hmm. With only one button, amazing things can happen. You know it works when you hear the dong sound. Pick one up today at Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, or any adult bookstore. Don't forget to check out the mother-in-law and kid version too. The wife remote. Get yours today. Dong. All right, here we're back at the final segment. Is it a segment? I mean, we're going to be official or what? We're going to say segment or section?
You need to say segment, D.
Segment. All right.
Yeah.
There it is. G-Funk has thrown down the law, and we're going to call it a segment. So we're at the final segment of our podcast episode today. And we're going to talk about some odds and ends. We're going to talk about Britney Spears. We're going to talk about the Chicago Bears and the late, great Lou Holtz. We'll get to him in a minute. So here's what happened with Britney Spears. Did you hear about her?
I did not. Help me out. That was not the ones I've heard about. I hadn't been keeping up with her since she fizzled out in the late 90s, but help me refresh it.
Yeah. So she was arrested in California on a suspicion of DUI. She got out of her car. Okay. She got down on her knees and looked at the cop and said, and it wasn't working anymore. So she was arrested, right? And police say she was just driving erratically all over the road and going nuts. And she said, "Oops, I did it again." As she hit a mailbox. Yeah. And I know Justin Timberlake is going, "Yep, I'm glad that isn't with me anymore." But
he said, "I'm not gonna do that again," and that's what he said. He said, "I'm not."
Yeah. So, in all fairness, her representatives, and all that kind of stuff have not fully confirmed everything. Seems like the Los Angeles Police Department, has confirmed everything, and they saw it and whatever else. But we've got to go by what the officials say or the official take of it all, and that everybody's innocent until proven guilty.
Okay.
But she is kind of a nut, and she's kind of fallen downhill, and she for about 5 minutes in '97 when she was 19 or whatever it was, she had a couple of videos, had a couple of scores, and made a couple of dollars. Yeah. And these days she's a 40-something-year-old washed up, and she does these weird videos on YouTube where she turns her camera on and she does these little dancing skits, and I'm not sure what that's about.
Yeah, if I was her manager, I would caution her to not do that.
With the dancing or the drinking and driving?
Well, both, but I was thinking of the dancing on YouTube. She needs to only do big things.
Well, that's just it though. I mean, she wasn't even, there's no music. She's just dancing to nothing.
Well, I mean, and that's fine. But if you're Britney Spears and you're trying to protect your brand, only don't dabble in little things so big.
But the only thing she's ever had was shaking her little tushy. And that's kind of,
I know it's tough today. It's tough to release a record. I would imagine that it costs, records don't pay what they used to, not anymore. Only a fraction of what they used to pay.
I saw that, and of course, I've never obviously been in the record business, but I saw that the best thing to do is to put out something that gets a hit. right? And most musicians don't make a whole lot of money in the grand scheme of things. I mean, of the bajillions of dollars that's made on a song, the people who really get paid are the distributors, the producers, and the people who backed it. Obviously, it makes a lot of sense, right? And the actual artists and the musicians kind of get bupkis, as compared to everything else. I mean, they're not getting, shortchanged or anything like that, but they're just not making the money that everybody else seems to be making. So I always heard that the best thing to do is to, after a certain period of time when the contracts, wear off, is you need to go and recycle your music, do a re-recording of it. And then that way you can draw more, you can resample it, you can change it slightly so it's technically considered in legal terms as a cover, even though it's the original artist, and then you can draw more of a profit from that. At least I was drinking one night and I saw Prince on one of the late night shows explain it that way.
Well, and that might be a way to stick it to the original producer, correct? Yeah, the original ownership. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
I still don't think they make much. How many new artists do you see? Almost none.
Oh, because music isn't the same as it used to be. I mean, think about it like this. I mean, when we were kids, in the 80s and 90s, we were glued to the radio, on Friday nights. And you get your tape recorder out and you record your favorite songs and whatever, you get a little mixtape going on. And the 90s, it turned into CDs. And then the early 2000s, the CDs kind of turned into like discs that you shot with your shotgun, and then nobody does that anymore. But you're right. It's all auto-tuned and, trolls singing,
Yeah.
Anyway, who knows what they're going to do? The Chicago Bears, you follow them?
I don't, but I did. I still remember the Super Bowl Shuffle from 1985.
You get down with that, don't you?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. You get down with that. I bet you have a recording of it. You do a little dance in your room, the Super Bowl Shuffle.
I still remember the fridge. I still remember Walter Payton.
Mm-hmm.
I remember who was the quarterback when the Bears won, and it was Super Bowl 20.
It was the guy that had the light issues.
Yeah. They only lost one game in the 1985 season, and it was to the Miami Dolphins, who were the only team to ever go perfect, right? So Miami Dolphins defended their perfect season, even though they didn't even go to the playoffs that year, they were the only people that beat the Chicago Bears that year.
And that was what, 1986?
That was 1985.
85?
And
Okay.
McMahon was the quarterback. I just don't remember his first name. McMahon.
Jim McMahon.
Jim McMahon. I liked him.
Yeah.
He had he had his little dip in his mouth and just didn't care.
He was the one that couldn't see, though, right? He had to wear sunglasses all the time.
Yeah, he did. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's him.
My grandfather. That's right. My grandfather used to call him Shaft.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
He had a thing for people wearing sunglasses indoors.
Get it?
So,
yeah, likes to show off. They don't.
Yeah. So the latest with them is that that brilliant mayor they have up there in Chicago, who's
he's smart. He is the highest IQ mayor in the nation, I've heard. Yeah, he's very good.
Yeah, he's up there with I don't know,
Forrest Gump. Yeah,
Forrest Gump. Well, that's don't be disrespectful to Forrest Gump.
That actually is not fair to him.
Yeah. He's a little bit perturbed because Chicago is moving to Indianapolis. Now, he was trying to compose himself, keep himself together. And you know what he said? He was at a press conference and he said, "Keep it a straight face." Do I have a straight face? Because he was really angry.
Yes.
And he said, the Bears don't belong in Indiana because they're called the Chicago Bears. That's why they need to stay in Chicago because, well, that's their name. And I wonder how many people in the room went, well, we could change the name. But yeah, that was his stand. He was pissed.
Or D, you could also be like the New York Giants and the New York Jets and actually play in New Jersey.
Yeah.
You could still call them the Chicago Bears. They just happen to be located and they pay a whole lot less tax in Indiana.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, just to stick it to them, I'd want to be the Indiana Bears or something.
Chicago. You can still call them Chicago, even though everything is in Gary, Indiana. Yes.
Yeah. Right next to Michael Jackson's childhood home.
New York State has only one NFL team located in there, and that's the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
Jets and the Giants are in New Jersey. I'm sure our audience knows that. I put that out there.
Absolutely. And it's like, people, talking about how many times they've been to an airport in Washington, D.C., when, in fact, D.C. has no airports, period.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And like was that Die Hard 2 when they were shutting down Dulles and they had all these planes that were up in the pattern and they had to land somewhere, and oh my gosh, Bruce Willis is going to save the day. And we got, living there because, Dulles used to be about 5 minutes from where I used to live. And I'm thinking to myself, I said to my wife, I said, golly, gee whiz. Let's see. There's Baltimore. There's New York. There's Reagan. There is Philly. There are half a other dozen airports, major airports in the Mid-Atlantic region. At any of them, when you're talking about a jet, a couple hundred miles is nothing. I mean, you glide for a couple hundred miles when you go to, when you're coming down from altitude, and they couldn't make any of those airports. It just kind of blew it for me. I mean, as a kid, I didn't think about it, but as an adult, I was like, yeah, this is a really stupid ass movie. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they probably could have looked into that a little bit more. But I mean, it was 87. Maybe a lot of those other airports weren't built yet.
I agree.
But I don't know. Maybe they could have landed it in the empty field where the Chicago Bears are going to build their new stadium.
Brilliant.
I come up with good ideas every day.
Gary, yeah.
Yeah.
You can't call them the Gary Bears. You call them the Chicago Bears, who are in Gary, Indiana.
Gary Berries. It's a little bit more DEI.
You could do Gary Ferries. You could do.
That's a special football league.
That's
Touch
not
football.
No, I'm sorry. Gary Harry's.
Harry Gary's.
Yeah, Harry's from
That's
Gary.
The Harry Gary's. That's that new Iranian football team. That's right. We'll figure it out. Think about it and get back to me on that. All right.
Okay, I'll do it. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, sad enough as it is, I heard that the late great Lou Holtz passed away at the age of 89 with his family around him.
Good man. Very good man. Liked him.
Yeah. He was about 5'2", and I'm kidding. I have no idea how tall he was. He didn't seem like he was that tall though. But for a shorter guy, he did have a lot of bark to him. You know what I mean? It was like a Chihuahua on the sideline, biting ankles.
I remember when he came to South Carolina.
Yep. What year was that?
That was 2001. And he said, our goal is to win the national championship. Okay?
No.
And not to pick on you, Lou, but I'm going to do it. He went 0-11 that year. Bless his heart. Now, in his defense, we went 1-10 the prior year. So we went 0-21. Of course, not all that's Lou, right?
Mm-hmm.
But first year he was winless, but we did do decent the next year. So in the 2001 year, we struggled. We were actually, believe it or not, Lou Holtz coached the first college game after 9/11.
Well, now you're right. You're right on the stats. You're a couple years off though. 99 is when he did the 0-11 faux pas.
Oh, excuse me. Thank you, Dean. All right, man. I thought it was.
There was a lot of drinking going on back then. It was the 90s. And then the year 2000, they were 8-4, and then they did a little bit better in 2001 at 9-3. I mean, they definitely were doing better.
Here checking the computer. Thank you, and not relying on my. Yeah, that's good.
Because after about a couple of beers, it's all BS anyway.
But we still played the first game after 9/11 against Mississippi State. I'm gonna go on.
But do you know what was really nice about that 1999 0-11 year?
What's that?
He had nothing to do but get better.
That's right.
It was all positive from there.
Yeah.
He couldn't get any worse. It was great.
Yeah. I actually work out with the guy at Wolf's Gym who played under Lou Holtz in the 60s when he was an assistant coach at South Carolina in the 60s. And he told me that all he did was Lou Holtz just spit all over him because that's how he talked back then. He just yelled at him and spit all over him. And he just spit all over him, but he did respect him. But he does spit on you when he gets excited because that's how he talks.
Yeah, well, that's what drinking does. Not to say that he was drinking, but I can relate. So the 2000 season, 8-4, that was the Outback Bowl. They won against the Ohio Buckeyes.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. And then they looked at him as a hero, especially after that. And he was there till 2004 when Steve Spurrier took over in 2005.
Correct. That's right.
All right. Now you were around those Spurrier days. I was not. Just pull back the curtain a little bit. I lived in South Carolina for a while, and G-Funk here has lived in South Carolina all his life, in and around the USC region. And so he speaks a little bit more intelligently than I do on most things. So Spurrier, how did he turn out?
I think Spurrier even though a lot of people don't like him, I think he did more for South Carolina than any other football coach.
How so?
Well, for starters, he has the highest winning percentage of all South Carolina coaches, and I'm sure D-Man over here will check me on that. It's correct. He also he transformed the parking. Our parking was a mess at South Carolina, and Steve Spurrier had a lot to do with fixing all that and getting it looking basically a lot like Florida, essentially, University of Florida, where he's from, or at least where he coached for a long time. So I am thankful that Steve Spurrier came to South Carolina and improved the program.
Well, cool. He, I didn't hear much of him, in the Mid-Atlantic region, other than the off chance ESPN came on and he was on. But so Beamer's the current, right? He's been there since what, 2021? And
we like Beamer. We do need an offensive line, and we're struggling a little bit, but we do like Beamer.
Okay. All right. Well, Beamer's a young guy, though, isn't he? He's like 16, 17 years old, something like that.
If he's younger than me, then that means he's 16. That's exactly right. He's younger than he's younger than D-Man is by a long shot.
Yeah, damn right.
Yeah.
Long on the tooth. But well, Lou Holtz, man, we'll drink another beer for him.
May he rest in peace.
Amen. Hold on, let me do a sip here. Hang on.
Right.
There it is. Lou Holtz. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I think we could say we've covered all our bases tonight. We've talked about the Iran conflict and who Trump's blowing up and pissing off today. Yeah. We've talked about Kristi Noem and her new dig selling fruit on the freeway. And we've also talked about Lou Holtz, who is not Lou Holtz anymore. He's
good man.
Memory.
Good man.
Good. There you go. Good family man. Wholesome man.
That's right.
And yep. We watched the story of Aaron Hernandez last night. Come to find out, he is not a good man. And there's some people that don't miss his ass.
I haven't heard of him. That's good.
He played for the University of Florida, and then he went pro and he played for the Patriots.
How about that?
Yep, 2017. Well, he hung out with a bad crowd. He he always used to get high and would go around shooting people at a whim rather. And one night he got caught. He went to jail and anyway, long story short, he didn't like his lot in life, so he decided to get a couple of bed sheets and make himself a Christmas ornament.
Oh no.
So yep, he made himself into an Epstein.
Oh man.
Or somebody Epsteined him. Maybe that was the case. A lot of people say that Epstein was Clinton, So who knows?
Hillary or Bill might have. Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, we all love the Clintons too. Clintons are good people, but
I think they're warm and fuzzy people. So as long as you don't talk any crap about them, you'll be all right.
In their way,
right?
That's not good.
If they say G-Funk, we need you to go left, and I know you want to go right. If you say no, well, then what they'll do is they'll take a sledgehammer to your left leg so you know what direction you need to go next time.
And they don't care that your founding fathers gave you the right to go right. You're going to go left because you've knees. Yeah.
Sure. That's just the way you got to go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will be back next week I guess next week we'll do our next podcast, and we will have more fun and exciting topics to talk about. Any topics that you are interested in discussing next week there, G-Funk?
I just ask our listeners to hit those like buttons and maybe tell us and give comments about what they want to talk about.
There you go. It's a great idea. The email address is podcast@50shades.net. So if you want to send a request of topic or anything like that, we'll even read what you have to say, if you want us to. If you have something that needs to be said out loud, we're happy to do that for you. So send us what you got, and we'll make it happen. I know G-Funk he's good at reading. He's got his glasses on so that, we can read it right.
That way we look smart.
That's the only reason why you wear your glasses, right?
Yeah. Everybody thinks I'm smart. I love it.
That's right.
I'm not in B.
That's right. I'm smart, but I do dumb work.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, I bid you adieu, sir, and your torpedo IPA with your little spicy cannon you got in there.
Fire.
Anyway, until next time.
All right, signing off. Sounds good.
Thank you for listening to the 50 Shades of Beer podcast. If you'd like to send us an email and let us know how we're doing, please do so at
podcast at 50shades.net. That's podcast at 50shades.net. Thanks a bunch for listening, and we'll see you soon. Have a great one.
The 50 Shades of Beer podcast.